As a result of the mesothelioma cancer and related illness, 55 countries all over the world, including the USA, New Zealand, Australia, Egypt, have banned the use of asbestos as a roofing material, with Kenya banning its use in 2006. That the spiraling increase in cancer cases is exerting unbearable financial pressure on families and the country's health system, owing to the exorbitant costs associated with treating cancer. That despite the ban on the use of asbestos in Kenya in 2006 and the associated increase in cancer cases, asbestos is still in use in many parts of the country. That the matter in respect of which this petition is made is not pending before any court of law or constitutional or legal body. Therefore, my humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly, through the Public Petitions Committee, 1, recommend to the relevant ministries to survey and identify all public buildings with asbestos roofs, including the International Development Association IDA funded primary schools in Wajir North constituency and other ASAL regions of northern Kenya that were roofed using asbestos, with a view to removing asbestos and replacing it with galvanized iron sheets in order to mitigate asbestos-related negative effects and cancer. Recommend to the relevant ministries to develop and implement a safe disposal plan for all the asbestos materials that will be removed from buildings to avoid seepage of the carcinogen into the environment. Recommend for a medical survey to be carried out in all the regions with asbestos roofs to ascertain the extent of cancerous effects of prolonged exposure to asbestos and provide necessary health interventions to those who might have been affected, and make any other appropriate recommendations with respect to ensuring the safety of residents in affected regions from exposure of asbestos-related negative effects. And petitioners will forever pray. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Sane. Yes, Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I rise to support that petition by the Honorable Sane, member for Wajir North. Mr. Speaker, it's actually a fact that research shows that asbestos has actually been a cause of cancer, and it's a well-known fact for a long, long time. Mr. Speaker, you know, the Bible says our people perish for the lack of knowledge. But in this case, I don't know, people are perishing not because of lack of knowledge, because they already know that this thing is quite an issue and it's actually quite hazardous. If you look at some of our estates, in fact, some that were built by the government a while back, like a case in point is Kahawa West, most of those houses that were built by the city council then were actually roofed with asbestos. Fortunately, some of them probably have ceilings, so the ceiling might assist. But in the case of schools or hospitals, some don't have ceilings. So, Mr. Speaker, it's really quite an issue, and I think it's something that we need to deal with once and for all, find a way by which we can make it put it in law to ensure that no house that has asbestos is actually occupied, so that we can be able to sort out this problem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Roku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise also to support the honourable member. And it is very unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that we have secondary schools which still have these kind of roofing materials. And more so in my constituency, Chicago Boys High School, where I went to school, they still have these roofing materials, and we are exposing our boys, our children, to very dangerous element which may cause cancer. Mr. Speaker, we have written again and again to the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, but it seems there is nothing that is happening as far as infrastructure or education infrastructure fund is concerned, so that there can be allocation to ensure there is different roofing within this school. Mr. Speaker, it is very important to call the Minister of Education all the PS of education to come and explain to us the plan which the ministry has as far as changing these materials in our schools so that we may not expose the young kids who are in schools in getting cancer in their future. Mr. Speaker, I support this, and it's something of the national importance which needs to be looked into. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kamkunji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and I want to support Honorable Ibrahim Sane's motion on...
it is not a motion, it's a petition.
Petition, sorry. I would like to support Ibrahim Sane's petition seeking support in eliminating the danger of asbestos in our society, in our schools, in our institutions, in the areas that he has mentioned. And indeed, asbestos is considered globally as a dangerous material that is cancerous and causes cancer. And it should have been eliminated in our country in accordance with actions that have been taken in other societies to protect our citizens, to protect our children, to protect our women. And I therefore support the idea. And I'm wondering why it has taken so long to be able to address this particular problem, which has long-term health consequences. But I also think that there are many other dangerous elements, dangerous chemicals that are easily available and widely used in our country that are also dangerous. And we need to wake up to this danger nationally. In spite of spending a lot of energy and time on expanding our universal health care, we should also be cognizant of chemicals that are going to cause diseases that would cost a lot of money and cost a lot of lives. And asbestos and some of these chemicals are some of those. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support, and I hope the House would also rally behind the petition. Thank you so much.
Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to stand in support of Honorable Ibrahim Sane's petition to seeking the ban of the use of asbestos building materials in roofing materials. Honorable Speaker, this is something that is about time that our Parliament, the National Assembly, dealt with. It is clear that nobody is using asbestos for new buildings, but the asbestos that exists as roofing materials are materials that were used in old buildings during a time when science had not confirmed that asbestos causes cancer. This has since been confirmed by peer-reviewed world science, and what remains is for us to remove those materials from our buildings. We find that in commercial buildings or buildings that are for rent, because the tenants refuse to move into the building unless they change the buildings, that the landlords are changing the buildings. But the biggest crisis is in our public buildings. And I can confirm without this that Pioneer Sub-County Hospital in Wasingishu has asbestos roofing from colonial times. Ngelel Tarit Sub-County Hospital has asbestos roofing material. But Forest Sub-County Hospital in Wasingishu also has asbestos roofing material because these were old buildings built during colonial times. It's about time that the National Assembly Health Committee summons the various state agencies, requiring that all of them be decommissioned and replaced with safer materials. Honorable Speaker, I think members of this House will remember that in the last Parliament, I did bring a petition seeking the ban of 267 types of pesticides that have been confirmed to cause cancer, that in fact farmers in the US have each been paid $250 million as damages for developing cancer as a result of exposure to those pesticides. Yet today, despite having brought the petition to our health committee in the last parliament, those pesticides have not been banned. The way the roofing materials have not yet been banned. It's about time that this house, and I sought in a second petition in this 13th parliament, asking the health committee to summon the pest control products board to come to this house to explain why they have not taken measures to remove those items off our market, and they continue to fail this time. I had a subsequent petition seeking the removal from office of all the board members of the Pest Control Products Board for failure to remove the dangerous products off our market, despite the fact that they are banned in Europe and the US, but they are permitted to be manufactured in those countries for export to countries like Kenya that are foolish enough to allow them in our market. Yet in this house, we continue to have petition after petition from various members. I know that the Honorable Member from Elgeyo Marakwet recently had a petition and statement seeking the establishment of the National Cancer Treatment Centers. What's the point of spending millions of shillings for treating cancer when we have certain products that are causing cancer right in our faces? We know that Kirinyaga County, for example, has the highest prevalence of cancer, and they also have the highest prevalence of the use of products that cause cancer. Yet we continue to give money for the treatment of cancer. Why don't you start with the prevention of cancer? So with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I wish to support the member for Wajir North, Honorable Ibrahim Sanei, on this petition that this House is challenged to begin to take extreme stand action to save lives of Kenyans. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Member for Jomvu.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, hata mimi nimesimama kuunga mkono petition hii ya Mheshimiwa Ibrahim Sanei kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo hili linajulikana sana, na nikisema hivyo mfano mzuri Mheshimiwa Spika, nitazungumza kule kwangu Jomvu ambapo kuna shule inaitwa Amani Primary School. Kuna mtoto mwaka jana alikufa kwa sababu ya kansa ambayo ilisababishwa kwa hizo asbestos. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama wenzangu walivyosema, na mimi nataka niseme kuwa mambo haya yalianza kitambo. Ni wajibu wa wale wanaohusika kuona kuwa wataweza kuphase out ama kuondoa hii mambo ya asbestos. Mfano Mheshimiwa Spika, nikisema kama eneo langu la Jomvu, Amani Primary School tumeondoa asbestos tuka-replace na iron sheets. Jomvu Primary School vile vile, Miritini Primary School vile vile katika shule inayoitwa Bangladesh, ambao shule zote hizi zilikuwa ziko katika athari. Mheshimiwa Spika, leo Mheshimiwa Ibrahim Sanei amesema hata pale KPA tukiangalia mpaka leo bado asbestos ziko pale. Lakini mimi naungana na wenzangu kusema bodi inayohusika na hayo mambo yastahili kwenda nyumbani kwa haraka iwezekanavyo, kwa sababu haiwezekani kukaa kula mshahara wa bure, wa Kenya wanakufa na hali na wao wanajua kuna jambo gani ambalo linaua Kenya na wao wametulia. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, nimesimama kuunga mkono na kusema kuwa Wizara ya Elimu yale ambayo tumefanya kama CDF na hiyo pia Ministry of Education iangalie katika zile shule pale palipobakia waondoe na kuweza kuwalinda watoto wetu. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Thank you so much.
Wanjala. Honorable Raphael Wanjala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Deputy Speaker that as a country we need to close down all those shops, all those factories that are making things that cause cancer in this country, especially pesticides and asbestos. But Mr. Speaker, also there is also a problem in the offing, in the lake. Mr. Speaker, the type of the cages that are put in Lake Victoria today, they are using metals, Mr. Speaker. to do cages and put them in the lake. And these cages are metals. They are very corrosive, and these are some of the things that are also going to cause cancer in the future. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree that we should be taking first step when we find there is a problem. We don't wait for a problem to be created, then we look for money to start spending on patients. Therefore, as this petition that is before us, it should even now include the fish cages that are put in Lake Victoria all over, that they should be removed. Because the metals that are put in the lake are corrosive, and soon our people will start experiencing cancer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Pukose.
Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the petition by the Honorable Sane on matters asbestos. Honorable Speaker, asbestos inhalation has been known to cause asbestosis, lung cancer, and many even when you swallow it, it is able to cause even colonic cancer. So, Madam Honorable Speaker, we find that many of the buildings which were put up, I think some of them even during colonial times, when you go to estates in many towns which were run by the initial municipal councils, the houses are made up of asbestos. You go to schools, asbestos. You go to hospitals or dispensaries or health centers, asbestos. I think the biggest challenge as the committee looks into it is that you need to look at it from a general point of view of whether there are still buildings that still have asbestos, and how can we be able to dispose, because its disposition should also follow certain environmental NEMA guidelines. Because if you just, many people outside there might not be understanding the danger in which they are facing, so that once they are removed from a certain building, you might find that people are taking those asbestos and trying to set up even some houses or build even houses for chicken or anything. And in that process, they expose themselves. You'll also find that when they are removing from, when you remove those materials, you are supposed actually to dig a hole and bury them. And there must be a depth to which those asbestos must be buried to make it environmentally safe for everybody. So as the committee looks into it, I think it's important that they widen their net so that it involves all these areas that we have asbestos, and even if it is possible, let's have a guideline on how we can be able to get rid of this asbestos within our environment. Because maybe, hypothetically, many of the diseases, many of the cancers we complain now might be associated with the exposure to this asbestos. Even brake pads of vehicles, the material is asbestos. So we need to be, even our mechanics, whenever they are working and they are using those brake pads, they need to understand that they should not inhale or swallow some of those materials that are coming from those brake pads. So it's a wide net that we must be able to look at it and look at the safety of our Kenyan population and what guidelines they should be able to come up. We are looking forward to seeing that report from the petition committee in this house, and for some of us who are in the health committee, we are ready to be able to give a hand and see how best we can be able to prosecute this very important matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity, and I want to thank the honourable member, my friend Sani. This issue of asbestos, Mr. Speaker, in my constituency, we have 2 hospitals whose roofs are asbestos. Mr. Speaker, we have petitioned the Minister of Education and Minister of Health as a community or body, and nothing seems to be taking place. Mr. Speaker, our Deputy Speaker said that Kirinyaga has the highest number of cancer cases. I want to dispute that statement and substitute that Meru has the highest cases of cancer, if not number one, number two. And these are associated, one, by the chemicals that are applied in the farms. They are associated with these kind of buildings, because we have schools, we have hospitals, we have large-scale farmers who are using toxic chemicals, and any attempt by the Department of NEMA to take up this matter has been thrust by corruption. Mr. Speaker, this issue of cancer is very dangerous in the society. Mr. Speaker, we have sung about cancer for a long time, and because we are now identifying the causes of cancer within our communities, it is the high time the department or the ministries involved to come together and form a government agency to study and make proper recommendations. Mr. Speaker, through this petition, I know there are some comments that are going to come from there, observations and recommendations. And we must, Mr. Speaker, as a House, continue monitoring the performance of these ministries in as far as the cancer issues are concerned. Mr. Speaker, when it rains, when it is dry, the emission and that comes from these asbestos, some of them are swept away to the rivers, the waters that our human beings and animals consume. And it is a known fact. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask that this House makes a follow-up of the first petition by the Deputy Speaker and this petition, so that we have actionable activities. But because coming up with the petitions is okay, but what do we get so that we can implement the recommendations of this petition? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, members. We'll end here on this. But before I commit the petition, listening to you, members of parliament, you're all lamenting, yet you are the House with teeth. You are the House that cannot and does not act in vain. The Deputy Speaker says she has brought a petition here before. These substances were banned in 2006. It is now almost 20 years. I would encourage you to audit your environment in your constituencies and have a depository here so that action can be taken. If you have asbestos in hospitals, and those are the guarantors of Kenyans' health, then we are not doing very well. If you have asbestos in your schools and you have CDF, go and rip them off, bury them, and put proper material so that you help your people, honorable members. I committed the petition to the Public Petitions Committee, but ideally, the Environment Management Agency, NEMA, should be called to account on why we still have these materials in our environment. So, Majority Leader, kazi kwako. You should know how to rope in NEMA to carry out a public audit on where we still have these materials on our buildings, in schools, in hospitals, in public institutions, and why they are still there. And with the possibility of amending the law to impose criminal sanctions on those who still have those materials on buildings. Next.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, before I lay the papers, I would like to say I'm much obliged with your direction on what we do about the asbestos. And we will follow up this matter so that these members, again, will never sit here to lament about asbestos in this country. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, 28th September 2023. 1. Legal notice number 116 of 2023 relating to the Lake Bolosat Catchment Protection Area Order 2023 from the Water Resources Authority. Legal notice number 117 of 2023 relating to the Karai Wetland Conservation Area Order 2023 from the Water Resources Authority. 3. Legal notice number 118 of 2023 relating to the Mwangei Hills Catchment Protection Area Order 2023 from the Water Resources Authority. Legal notice number 119 of 2023 relating to the Larry Swamp Catchment Protection Area 2023 from the Water Resources Authority. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements on the National Government Constituencies Development Fund for Webuye East constituency for the year ended 30th June 2022 and the certificates therein. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, report of the Auditor General and financial statements on Water and Sanitation Services Improvement Project IDA CR number 5103 KE for the year ended 30th June 2023, Lake Victoria North Water Works Development Agency and the certificates therein. I beg to lay, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Chairperson Ad Hoc Committee on Inquiry into World Coin, Honorable Gabriel Tongoyo.
You know, it should be. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg, Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, the 28th September 2023. The report of the Hardware Committee on the inquiry into the activities and operation of WorldCoin in Kenya. And I table, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next, Chairperson, Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee. Is that Wamshomba? Go ahead, Mami.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 28th September 2023. Report of the Constitution Implementation Oversight Committee on a tour study visit to Geneva Center for Security Sector of Governance, DCAAF, undertaken in Switzerland from 21st to 27th of May 2023. That's all I have to lay, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Next order. Okay. Oh, Chairperson, Public Debt and Privatization, Sharia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 28th September 2023. Report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on its consideration of loans contracted by the national government between May 2022 and April 2023. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson Ad Hoc Committee on WorldCoin, Tongoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I beg to give the notice of motion that this House adopts the report of the Hardware Committee on the inquiry into the activities and operation of WorldCoin in Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 28th September 2023.
Thank you. Sharia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on its consideration of the loans contracted by the national government between May 2022 and April 2023, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 28th September 2023. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Marian Kaitanyi.
Thanks, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice to the following motion, that aware that the world is rapidly embracing artificial intelligence, which is the use of digital computer or computer-controlled robots to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings, and acknowledging that the 2022 Government Artificial Intelligence Readiness Index reported that Kenya ranked 5th in Africa and 90th globally in readiness to adopt artificial intelligence, that is AI, and further acknowledging that the Oxford Insight Survey 2022 pegged Kenya's readiness to adopt AI at 40.3%, appreciating that AI has brought forth positive benefits that have increased efficiency in different sectors such as healthcare, manufacturing, and robotics, and concerned that the exponential rate at which AI is being embraced in the society without proper regulatory mechanisms has caused various negative consequences, such as rising cases of disinformation and fake news, and noting that there is need to protect Kenyans from the potential AI-instigated harms such as privacy breaches, AI-powered fake technology algorithms, algorithmic discrimination, autonomous weapons, jobs displacement, and economic inequality, social manipulation and misinformation, financial market manipulation, and privacy invasion. Now, therefore, this House urges the government, through the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, to A, formulate a regulatory framework and ethical guidelines for implementation of artificial intelligence in the country to control its potential misuse, and B, develop and execute a public awareness program on artificial intelligence to raise understanding of AI, and as well as foster transparency and promote responsible use of AI for the benefit of all.
You have a second motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of motion for the following motion, that aware that the government of Kenya has prioritized digitization and automation of government processes and services as part of the Kenya Digital Master Plan 2022-2030, the blueprint for leveraging and deepening the contribution of information and communication technology, that's ICT, to accelerate the country's economic growth, and further aware that the government is committed to considering the industrial, academic institutions, and other innovations to coexist in emerging technologies to create high-quality jobs that leverage on artificial intelligence, robotics, and other technologies, and being cognizant of the fact that the government intends to increase internet broadband connectivity across the country through the construction of 100,000 kilometers of national fiber optic connectivity network, and concerned as the country rapidly digitizes services and processes, the high cost of data internet services as well as purchase of internet-enabled digital devices may lead to digital exclusion of a majority of Kenyans, and recognizing that there is need to bridge the existing gap in ICT to ensure that inclusivity in access to internet make Kenya a regional ICT hub while keeping pace with the shifting technological changes, and noting that the government's plan for a digital superhighway may not be realized without deliberate interventions to lower data costs. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the government, through the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, formulate a policy to A, regulate internet billing by internet service providers, or called ISPs, by providing for metered billing of internet use on consumption in order to mitigate exploitation and secure economic interests of internet users in line with Article 46 of the Constitution, and 2, require internet service providers to develop and deploy quality metered billing systems capable of monitoring consumer usage and convert readable details and creating invoices based on consumption and align their metrics with the value and customers, the value the customers get from the various internet services. I thank you.
Honorable member, next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Kuno Yakub of Bura.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for statement regarding the disappearance of 2 persons from Bura and Garsen. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security regarding the disappearance of 2 people from Bura and Garsen constituencies. Honorable Speaker, on 26 September 2023, Mr. Isaac Roble Somani of ID number 21447264 was abducted by unknown persons while on his way from Bura to Nairobi at Mwingi aboard bus registration number KBT 662W at around 11 a.m. On the night of the same day, Mr. Nur Muhammad Okomo of ID number 9769719 was abducted from his house in Tarasa village in Garsen constituency. Honorable Speaker, the 2 persons are renowned businessmen within Bura and Garsen constituencies and are persons of high stature within the community. While efforts to trace their whereabouts have not borne any fruit, the families believe that the 2 were abducted by persons alleged to be security agents. Honorable Speaker, it's against this backdrop that I seek a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security on the following. 1. Could the Chairperson inform the House on the whereabouts of the said Mr. Isaac Roble Somani of ID number 21447264 and Mr. Nur Muhammad Okomo of ID number 9769719. 2. What measures the government is taking to ensure that the said persons are located and reunited with their families soon as possible. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Women Rep Tana River. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the statement made by Honorable Yakub Ado. Mr. Speaker, the family of Mr. Isaac Roble and Nur Mohammed are in distress since the abduction. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Isaac's mother is a 90-year-old woman who has been admitted to the hospital since his disappearance. Mr. Speaker, we would like the security agency to give us the reason or to give us why both of them up to now, it is on the 26th, up to date, we don't know their whereabouts. We want justice for them. If they are criminals, let them be charged. Mr. Speaker, the family has been in Nairobi following up on all these matters through all the administration, police and all the agencies without any answer. So we request Mr. Speaker for the justice. Thank you very much.
Chairman Security, make your inquiry and bring a response after.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Bring a response next week on Thursday.
Yeah, I think maybe next week, Thursday.
Okay.
But hopefully in between now and then, if the 2 lost individuals are found, I think that will be better for us. Nevertheless,
he didn't say they are lost, he said they were abducted.
They are gone missing.
Yes.
Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, I really feel the agony and the pain the families are going through, and we are really sorry for that, and I will follow up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will give the response on Thursday.
Honorable Wade Obo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry, Mining regarding hazardous spillage caused by Zarara Oil and Gas Company in Pate Island, Lamu. Honorable Speaker, the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, cleared Zarara Oil and Gas Limited for the drilling operation in Lamu aimed at exploring natural gas deposit. Subsequently, Zarara Oil and Gas Company initiated exploration activity on Pate Island, but later announced cessations of operation, citing absence of commercial viable gas resources. While the company may have withdrawn from Lamu East, the repercussion of the activity continues to negatively affect the residents of Lamu. For instance, one of the wells drilled by the company during the exploration activity has become a source of distress as the well was left inadequately sealed, and it is now causing ongoing spillage of the unknown chemicals. Honorable Speaker, the situation is an environmental hazard and it has come a direct threat to the health and well-being of residents. Notably, the hazard has led to the death of several animals and plants. The continuous spillage has also caused health problems from the member of the community and may lead to long-term chronic illness. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Environment, Forest and Mining on the following. 1. What measures are being taken by the Ministry to address the spillage caused by the Zarara Oil and Gas Company? 2. State whether the Ministry has tested the chemical emissions to determine their toxicity and mitigate likely health hazard, and the strategies and initiative the Ministry has put in place to address the physiological effect caused by the spillage, particularly with regard to compensation to the affected resident. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Who is the Chairperson for Environment? Majority Leader, who is the Chair for Environment? You relay the information to bring the statement in 2 weeks. Gikaria?
Yes. He took leave, he's unwell.
Gikaria is always here. Inform him 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Honorable members, before we call the Majority Leader, allow me to acknowledge the following schools in the Speakers and Public Gallery. Kiletieni Mixed Secondary School from Kipkelion, Kericho. Kinyongori High School, Limuru, Kiambu. Precious Brains Primary School, Kasarani, Nairobi. Jamhuri Primary School, Kasarani, Nairobi. Mbovu Secondary School, Makwiny. Nyagiti Primary School from Madhyoya, Muranga. Kidhalani Primary School from Mwingi West, Kitui. Kadhiani Girls School from Kadhiani, Machakos. Kinyogori High School from Limuru, Kiambu. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students and their teachers to Parliament. Majority Leader, as you stand, you can, on behalf of all the members from whose constituencies the school come from, welcome the schools.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is the usual statement by the leader of Majority Party on Thursdays. And on behalf of the House and the leadership of the House, I would like to welcome all the schools that have today come to visit Parliament. You're welcome to the Houses of Parliament, and we are happy and glad to have you around. And as you go back to your schools, remember always to work very, very hard and make us, as your MPs, very, very proud as you go back to your schools. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead with your statement.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2A, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Thursday, 26 September 2023, to prioritize the business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, I wish to officially welcome members back from the long recess. I hope we all have come back invigorated, in readiness to perform our roles for the remainder of this part of the session, which is to a very busy start. The House awaits reports on various items of business, and I urge committees to expedite and finalize their reports on bills, treaties, inquiries, statements, and petitions to be considered in the House. Honorable Speaker, with regards to the business for Tuesday next week, the House is expected to continue debating on the statute law miscellaneous amendment bill 2022 should it not be concluded today. I think, Honorable Speaker, today you acceded to our request to remove some of the items on the law, and we hope this will start debate. The House is also expected to deliberate on the following motions, some of which are listed in the order paper today. Should they not be concluded today? 1. Motion on approval of nominees to 3 National Government Constituencies Development Fund committees. 2. Report on consideration of the East African Community Multilateral Agreement on Aircraft Accidents and Incident Investigation. Reports on the consideration of the protocols relating to amendments to Articles 50A and 56 to the Convention on International Civil Aviation 1944, the Chicago Convention. 4. Report of the Kenya delegation to the 146th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union and related meetings held in Manama, Kingdom of Bahrain. 5. Report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of public petition number 07 of 2022 regarding probable loss of investments in Cyton High Yield Solutions platform. Report on the inspection of various one-stop border posts in the Northern Corridor in the East African Community region. Report on the employment diversity audit in public institutions. Consideration of the reports of the Auditor General and the financial statements for the National Government Constituencies Development Fund for 12 constituencies in Kakamega County. And 9, a report of the Kenya delegation to the 4th General Assembly of the East African Parliamentary Alliance on Food Security and Nutrition held in Kigali, Rwanda. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A5 and 6, I wish to convey that the Cabinet Secretary for Health is scheduled to appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 4th October 2023 to respond to questions as follows. And honorable members, those that have questions, please make sure you are here on that day so that you may ask your questions so we don't have to drop questions on that day. Honorable Speaker, the first question is questioned by private notice number 09-2023 by the member for Likoni, the Honorable Mishi Mboko MP, regarding the status of oral cholera vaccination OCV drive conducted in August 2023. Question number 108/2023 by the member for Masinga, Honorable Joshua Mwalio, MP, regarding the failure by the Kenyatta National Hospital KNH superannuation scheme to settle pension benefits owed to retirees. Question number 111 of 2023 by the member for Kiambu Hon Machua Waithaka MP regarding the unavailability of anti-epilepsy drugs in public hospitals. Question number 157 of 2023 by the nominated member the Honorable Sabina Chege, CBS MP, regarding the sale of Velo drug to minors in the country. Question number 214 of 2023 by the member for Kaiti, the Honorable Joshua Kimilu MP, regarding efforts put in place to eradicate all neglected tropical disease by 2030. The Deputy Speaker is asking me what is Velo. I know what Velo is. It's something that is sold that is a stimulant. It works like It is a dangerous thing that is being sold. Yes, it's velo. You go to the shops, you find it sold alongside cigarettes. But I think it borders between cannabis and something. But it is sold freely. Honorable Speaker, indulge me, Honorable Speaker. Question number 306 of 2023 by the nominated member, the Honorable Irene Mayaka, MP, regarding establishment of a mental health and happiness commission. Question number 307 of 2023 by the member for Kabete, the Honorable James Wamashukuru, MP, regarding lack of medical health insurance cover to facilitate intersex persons undergoing gender transformations. Quite an interesting one. Question number 308 of 2023 by the member for Sobukia, the Honorable Samuel Gashobe, MP, regarding death of a mother while giving birth at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital on 3rd April 2023. Question number 309 of 2023 by the member for Mumias West, the Honorable Peter Salasia, MP, regarding steps taken by the Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC, to secure an uninterrupted availability of lecturers in each of its campuses. Question number 310, 2023, by the member for Kabete, the Honorable James Wamashukuru, MP, regarding deployment of sign language interpreters in public health facilities to facilitate communication with deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Question number 355, 2023, by the nominated member, the Honorable Dorothy Ikiara, MP, regarding efforts aimed at addressing the menace of teen pregnancies in the country. Question number 358, 2023, by the member for Shinyalu, the Honorable Frederick Ikana, MP, regarding the outbreak of the unknown disease in Mukumu Girls High School, Shinyalu Sub-County, Kakamega County, on the 28th of March 2023. And question number 372, 2023, by the member for Thika Town, the Honorable Alice Nganga, MP, regarding illegal dumping of contaminated maize flour at Kangoki dump site in Kamen Ward, Thika Town constituency. Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee will reconvene on Tuesday, 3rd October 2023 to schedule business for the rest of the week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Yes, Honorable Oundo.
Honorable Speaker, I've listened to the statement by the Majority Leader, and I just want to raise a point of concern. I drafted a question and submitted. Majority Leader, I hope you are listening. I drafted a question to roads, I think to the CS Road on 25th July. And we have been waiting for the response. It has not been forthcoming. I do not know 25th July. To the Cabinet Secretary in charge of roads and infrastructure. We haven't received any response since then. I do not know whether you will follow up and let us know when the response will be forthcoming so that I can relay to the affected parties that have been asking for some time now. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Majority Leader, you can follow up that. Honorable members, allow me to also acknowledge in the public gallery Survey Secondary School from Laikipia North, Laikipia. On your behalf and on my own behalf, I welcome the students and their teachers to the House of Parliament. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, consideration of the report of the proposed reduction of projected ceilings for the Kenya Rural Roads Authority for the financial year 2024-2025 and 2025-2026. Resumption of debate.
Honorable members, the records show that Honorable Thuku Kwenya is in the House. Yes, you are on the floor and you have 3 minutes to go. You can take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to proceed from where I stopped yesterday on this report by the House Committee on Transport and Infrastructure. And Mr. Speaker, I must say that the only body that has the mandate to make or to change or amend the constitution and the law and statutes is this House. And therefore, in an attempt by the executive and especially the cabinet secretary through the director general for KRB to even attempt to do a circular to the effect that they were setting ceilings as to how much should be spent on our roads is in itself ultra vires. They were acting beyond their powers and beyond what is stipulated in the constitution. I must thank the member for Nyando for bringing up this matter in time, so that then any attempt to circumvent the constitution and the law of this great land is dealt with even at source. Mr. Speaker, Article 94, sub-article 5 of the constitution stipulates clear as to who is supposed to legislate. Article 95, in terms of sharing revenue, it is well stipulated that it is only this House that can do that. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, the issue of Kera roads, as all members may attest to this, forms the bulk of our roads and as such very important roads, especially from the constituency that I represent, the constituency of Kinangop, which is the food basket for this great city. And Mr. Speaker, all we are asking is not a reduction of percentages, but an increment of the same. And I believe because this House is within its power to do that, that Kera money should not even be 22% and the 10%, it should go up to 50% because the bulk of the roads are Kera roads. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to support the report by the Committee on Transport and call upon this House to make sure that we vigilant, because there is every attempt by the executive to usurp a power that they do not have, power that has been allocated to this great House, the Parliament of Kenya. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice on this issue on Kera roads. Mr. Speaker, I was mesmerized and perturbed that the ministry or the minister in charge of roads gave an instructions to the DG Kera, and the DG went ahead and instructed the REs of our constituencies to degrade or to downgrade the cash that usually we are allocated, or that is allocated, the 22% and 10%. And it leaves me wondering, we being a law-abiding country, him being also a law-abiding citizen, and he was also in this House, he knows very well that where laws are amended and formulated is the floor of the House. How would he give an executive order to actually take away the mandate of the members of parliament to reduce the roads, the amounts in the roads? So, Madam Speaker, I stand here to say that the money that we used to use in the roads of Kera, vis-a-vis the roads being repaired by the county government, is like day and night. Madam Speaker, we can't allow that to happen because the county governments are just in place after, this is the third time. Yet Kera has been since inception. So the quality of the roads that the county assembly or the county governments usually do, you cannot equate to the quality of Kera. So I stand here, Madam Speaker, to say that it is not procedural, it is not good, it's very uncouth for such a thing to happen, and will not allow that. From the constituency that I come from, that is Chesumei, I want to ensure that those roads, with the funds that we've been given by through KERA, that the roads are done in good standards. And now I'm surprised that even the roads which the county governments are supposed to do, they have not done. And even when the little that they do, it is haphazard. So, Madam Speaker, I stand here to oppose and to say that the only place that those amendments can be done is in the floor of the House. And I actually call upon the DG of KERA to also be alive to the fact that he would be liable on his own one time, because he gave an order for those roads or for the money to be reduced. Our CRC committees were called to actually budget or to actually give proposals of the roads that are going to be done, and they were given money less than what this House knows. So, Madam Speaker, it is my wish, and I believe it's the wish of this House also, to summon the minister in charge to actually come and explain how that would happen without the consent of this House. With those very many or few remarks, I stand and say that is a big no. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Martha Wangari.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I rise to also support the report and actually thank the committee, because they have been bearing the brunt of the issues that have come to this House. And I thank the chair and the committee for acting on them. And Madam Speaker, the issue of KERA was well thought out. These percentages were thought out for a reason, and that is why they were not capped on an amount, they were capped on a percentage. That way, however the money goes, these percentages still actually appreciate at the same time. Madam Speaker, some of the constituencies that we represent are very vast. Like my constituency, Madam Speaker, is 1,348 square kilometers. I know some constituencies, like in the northern region, that are in thousands of square kilometers, Madam Speaker. And the one issue that has always united these constituencies, Madam Speaker, is the rural roads, Madam Speaker. If we even dare to take even an inch, even the 22% as it is right now, and the 10% is not even sufficient to cover our roads. And Madam Speaker, this also exposes the soft belly of what devolution was supposed to do, what it has done, and what it should have done by now. We are in the third generation of governors, Madam Speaker, but if you look at the resources, if you ask the members in this House, or even the constituents, Madam Speaker, whether they can show proper infrastructure and proper projects by the counties, they cannot compare to the ones that are done by KERA to the ones that are done by CDF. Madam Speaker, the amounts that were given by the exchequer to the county governments this year, almost 400 billion in general, went to all the counties, versus 44 billion that goes to CDF. But if you go to the constituencies of these members, you will see a KERA road, you will see a CDF project that is standing, and we cannot even make a mistake of trying to plow back that, Madam Speaker. The other issue that has been exposed on this, Madam Speaker, is the issue of trying to amend the law through the back door. Article 94(5) of the Constitution gives the sole mandate of lawmaking to Parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate. And Madam Speaker, there is no other meeting, not even the President, not even the Deputy President, no other person should be able to make laws, not even the Attorney General, not even the commissioners, Madam Speaker. Nobody has the power or the mandate to amend the law. So without amending the Kenya Roads Act, Madam Speaker, we will be doing an illegality, and this must be treated as so. We cannot amend the law through a meeting in Naivasha, and we cannot get the plowing back of the success that Kera has had over the years, to take them to the same pitfall that has been seen in the counties, projects that are never completed. If you look at the roads that are done by Kera and the county governments in the constituencies, you can tell the difference without even asking, Madam Speaker, because even the quality of the maraming, even the quality of graveling, even the quantity of gravel, you can tell a road that is being done by the county, it is haphazard, it is actually an avenue for corruption, and we cannot sit back as members of parliament and let these same counties that have taken almost 400 billion to actually now take back what is RMLF, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this committee must stand very firm, because even when we are speaking of the Roads Board Act, Madam Speaker, it was made in this house. We know and see the appetite the governors have to dip their fingers on this one. But Madam Speaker, we must be very clear. We must be very straightforward. It cannot happen. It should not happen. And I think they should get the ministry to explain under what circumstances are you doing the backdoor amendments of the law, and under which circumstances are you proposing to decrease this 22% without coming to the floor of the House. That said, Madam Speaker, I will support the committee, and I hope that they can be able to get concrete answers, because not only has the committee been receiving the questions, that question has come to the floor of this House, and that memo, Madam Speaker, must be treated as null and void ab initio. I support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very much, Honorable Martha Wangari. Honorable members, you remember that we did not limit time. So it will be upon you to make a decision on how long you are going to speak, so that as many of you can speak. So I encourage you to speak for less minutes, so that we can have more of you having an opportunity to speak on this motion. The next opportunity goes to the Honorable Robert Mbui, member for Kadhiani.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the report on the proposed reduction of projected ceilings for Kenya Rural Roads Authority by this Committee of Transport and Infrastructure. Madam Speaker, it was shocking to see the letter that had been released to all the regional directors indicating a reduction in the allocation of the funds that are supposed to be used by Kenya Rural Roads Authority to be able to maintain those roads in our rural areas. And Madam Speaker, the real issues that come out of this is the fact that this House, through the Committee of Delegated Legislation, is the one that is supposed to deal with subsidiary legislation. And Madam Speaker, it is always an issue that government officials are constantly trying to make laws which they have no authority to do. Yesterday, we had issues that were raised here on the Education Ministry. As we speak, even now, there are a lot of things that are happening within even that ministry that were never brought to the House. Like even the issue of saying that school buses have to be painted yellow. Yes, that makes sense, but it has to come to the House, because if it is not brought to the House for the House to approve, then it is really not law. And sometimes you wonder, when they issue those directives, if somebody goes against it, what law are they going to anchor the case if they were to ever take anyone to court? Madam Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, the Statutory Instruments Act defines what a statutory instrument is, or what a regulation is, or what subsidiary legislation is. And it states as follows, Madam Speaker, that any rule, any circular, any letter, any pronouncement, any guideline, as long as it has the effect of law, then that becomes a subsidiary instrument. That becomes a regulation. So, Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that these government officials continue to do this, despite knowing that under Article 95, it is only this House that has that permission or that right under the Constitution. And, Madam Speaker, there are basic mistakes that are made whenever government officials ignore the House. One of them, of course, is that there will be no public participation. So they will not even know the impact of what it is that they are doing. And, Madam Speaker, one of the mistakes that this ministry is making is that they have proposed, and they have proposed some legislation to the committee, that they want to be able to identify constituencies that are more prone to hire rainfall so that they get, an inordinately larger amount of money. Madam Speaker, I'm just wondering, don't some of these government officials know what is going on in the world? Issues of global warming. Just the other day, this country is one that was hosting the issue of the climate change. You mean that they don't understand that these things are happening? That areas that were prone to drought are now having floods, and places that had floods are having drought? It's unfortunate that they are not listening to what is happening. Madam Speaker, there is also the fact that in the Statutory Instruments Act, whenever the committee has to deal with any legislation, they look at the legislation or the instrument against the parent act. And these regulations or this letter would be drawn from the contents of the the Kenya Roads Board Act. And it is totally inconsistent with Section 6 of that act. So, Madam Speaker, it's unfortunate, and I think as a House, the Speaker has told us not to be lamenting. So I want to agree with the committee that we immediately nullify this kind of business, and we call upon any government officer to be careful not to make law outside the House. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Owen Bayer. The Honorable Owen Bayer. The Honorable Owen Bayer is in the House.
Now, thank you very much. I will donate some of my time to my friend Maklap. And if the Honorable Speaker allows, while I totally oppose other departments to make law and ensure that they follow the law as laid down, we should not allow anybody to take the power of Parliament to make law. And I will donate the rest of my time to, so that I can attend an important matter of state to Maklap.
Well, the Honorable Donna Doris, member for Kisii County. Honorable
thank you very much.
The left and the right.
Yeah.
I think it is the fairest way.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. As I stand, I feel that day after day.
The Honorable Owen Bayer. Owen Bayer, you didn't have any time to donate. But I promise to give a chance to the Honorable Maklap. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I feel day after day, things keep on changing for us. Like, for example, I can attest to when members say Kera roads are done better than any other roads. Same way as when the Minister for Education was before Parliament, we were asking him about the issues of the sanitary pads. He kept on saying, oh, we are going to handle on this issue. We are going to forward this matter to the Ministry of Gender, which later can be pushed to the women reps. What am I saying about the sanitary pads? It's the same case. MPs are doing good on roads. Women reps are doing good on the issues of sanitary pads. But good things are taken from good people. We don't know where they are placed. Then we keep on saying, oh, this must be done, this must be done. It means that those people who've been delegated to do that work don't understand what they are doing in that office, and they should vacate to give way for those who understand what they should do in those offices. So, Madam Speaker, I support this. As we say about Kera roads, please note that women reps need sanitary pads to be distributed to our schools effectively. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Maklap. The Honorable Maklap.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to take this opportunity from the onset to thank the Chairman, Honorable Chike, for bringing this report to the House. Madam Speaker, it should be known to the country that it is only roads done by Kera that are actually being felt by wananchi on the ground. County governments where it served have never been able to do a quality road anywhere in Kenya. And therefore, Madam Speaker, it is only under the national government carer to actually reach out. In fact, we wish to expand that resource so that it's no longer 22% and 10%, but even raise it higher because it is filthy on the ground. Madam Speaker, that is the fund that changes the lives of our people, that open areas that are potential for agriculture, that open areas that have been affected by conflict. That is the money that changes the game in Kenya. Madam Speaker, any attempt by KRB or the Council of Governors to slash any amount that is meant for carer is actually an abomination, because the county governments, they have not been able to do quality job on the ground. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the committee because we must actually restrict ministries and sagas from creating legislations piecemeal which are not in accordance to law or act of parliament, to squeeze in some reforms or changes in parastatals or even functions of government through regulations. Madam Speaker, this House must rise to stand up and be counted. Madam Speaker, there is even a vote that this parliament must be able to look at it properly. There is a vote called 10%, and it says it is minister's allocation. Madam Speaker, do you know 10% of the roads money is actually 7 billion? 7 billion, Madam Speaker, can do a tarmac of not more than 100 kilometers of tarmac road. And if you allow that kind of money to go to one person to decide who to give or who not to give, Madam Speaker, that is a vote that we must relook in this country, because it actually affects us. Madam Speaker, it will look like the KRA things that were brought here yesterday, where some parts of the country is skewed and others are not benefiting at all. Madam Speaker, Parliament must be able to check the excesses of executive and must be able to protect all members across board. Madam Speaker, have roads. Roads does not only affect the people who are in Kenya Kwanza or AZIMIO, it affects the people of Kenya. And actually the people of Kenya must enjoy those benefits. Madam Speaker, that is an area we will ask the chairman of roads. This 10% business, which is minister's vote, must actually be relooked at it properly so that it will be able to sort out critical areas in our constituencies in a fair and justifiable manner. Madam Speaker, it is only this committee that has sent a stern warning to the people in KRB. Madam Speaker, KRB has been held captive. What you here call state capture, the state capture in KRB is too much, and we must be able to relook how KRB distributes resources to the four authorities, the KERA, KURA, KENA, and KWS, Madam Speaker. Those are the bodies where KRB has been keeping resources. But KRB of late and for the previous years has become a cartel auction of actually dishing money to friends or other people to support their infrastructure while the rest of the country is left out. Some of our constituencies have the longest roads without tarmac and without even maram. Madam Speaker, we want to thank the committee and ask them to go further and reprimand the people of KRB from excesses of power. Madam Speaker, I stand to support.
The Honorable Farah Maalim.
Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this matter. Madam Speaker, I am one of the few members of Parliament, very, very few indeed, who has been in Parliament way back in 1993. Madam Speaker, in 1993, I asked a question in Parliament, how much money, developmental money, was spent on Northeastern Province, all sectors and everything, for the last 30 years. Madam Speaker, the answer I got was that it was 178 million shillings. For 3 districts those days of Wajir, Garissa, and Mandera, for 30 years, the government spent less than 6 million shillings per year on all those 3 districts in development matters. That's because when we got independence, Madam Speaker, this government, or the government of the day, devised what they called the sessional paper number 10 of 1965, which was the intensification of development resources in the high potential areas. In other words, our first Prime Minister and first President at the time, Jomo Kenyatta, did not want money to go to any of those rural, arid and semi-arid areas. I wanted all those developments to be concentrated in the areas where his community and a few other highlands, what was called those days, the highlands, the white highlands. It's because of that that this country has never been at ease with itself in terms of politics. We had all sorts of movements. We had the multi-party, what they call agitation that time, that cost a lot of Kenyan lives. This was all because we were trying to look for an equitable way, an equal opportunity way in which resources were going to be distributed to the 4 corners of this country. Madam Speaker, today, the only infrastructure we have in our constituencies are the ones which have been initiated through the CDF. The only other infrastructure we have are the roads that were built by KERA through in conjunction with the Parliament, National Assembly. You cannot take that away again. That cannot be taken away. I support this report of the committee. If anything, we want them to take it on bigger roles. We do not have a single feeder road in the whole of Northeastern Province which is tarmac, Madam Speaker. Not a single tarmac. Makilap, Madam Speaker, protect me from Makilap and Bui. And listen to what I'm saying so that you understand there's a country called Kenya, and don't interpret Kenya to be just to the confines of your own region or your own constituency. The moment we begin feeling for the people of Igembe, for the people of Garissa, for the people of Wajir, for the people of South Pokot, that is the time this country is going to become a nation. But if we only keep on thinking about what goes to my people, my constituency, my tribe, my clan, it's not going to work. This country, we will bequeath it. We've been independent for 60 years. We're going to be independent again for another 60 years, and we'll still be where we started in the first place. These roads must be increased, let alone what we have right now. We need more resources for the Kenya rural roads. Because this is the only time that we're able to determine our priorities in development as far as roads are concerned. Roads are concerned. And we are achieving some serious progress. Serious progress. I remember one time in one term, I was able to cover from one end of the constituency to the other end of the constituency. And these are now, what is now 2 constituencies, Dadaab and Lagdera, which was only called Lagdera. Something that had not, a feat that had not been accomplished by the government, successive government, for 40 years almost before that. More than 40 years. Now, if you take away, Madam Speaker, can I have 2 minutes or 3 minutes with your indulgence?
You can have 1 minute.
Okay. Because of that, now Kenyans in all corners of this country feel CDF, they feel KERA roads, Kenya rural roads, they feel that they are part of this country. The locals, herdsmen, people who live in the rural areas will come to you and tell you we want this as a priority road because it connects us to our markets. It connects us to the borehole. It connects us to this and these places, the centers which are there. And it's as a result of that, that we can then claim proudly that we belong to a country called Kenya, where every Kenyan has a certain attention. Certain attention. Madam Speaker, every one of you will be surprised if I tell them that we have less than 200 kilometers of tarmac road in the whole of Northeastern Province.
What used to be Northeastern Province, almost a third of this country, has only the road from Garissa to Modogashi. That's all, period. In other parts, the roads go to the houses of people. It goes to their own farms. It goes to everywhere. Tarmac, 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 everywhere. Are they any better, more equal Kenyans than us?
Thank you very much, Honorable Farah. Honorable Farah Maalim, your time is up and very well spoken. The Honorable Gideon Kimayo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand also to support this report from the Committee of Transport. Madam Speaker, I reject, as most of my colleagues have spoken, that the money from KERA is reduced and taken to the counties. And I must say this, let the counties stay on their land. The counties have their own money. Every year through the appropriation bill, the counties are allocated their money. They also collect their own revenue. They also get conditional grants from the government. They also get grants from development partners. Where do they take that money now that they want money that are usually taken care of the constituencies through KERA? This will not be allowed. Number two, this body called KERA, or the other one which allocated money to KERA, the Kenya Roads Board, for them to change the ceilings on the allocations which goes to each constituency, they must come to this house. They must come to this house, and the lawmakers who are in this house will deliberate on the issues they have brought to this house, and if we agree with them, we make the changes. But they don't have the right to change those ceilings. And we are telling them, until they do that, they bring out the regulations, or they bring an amendment of the bill that developed the roads board and the ceilings, that is null and void. Madam Speaker, actually this money for KERA that goes to our constituencies should be increased instead of reduced. Should be increased, because like what my colleague senior Farah Maalim, Mheshimiwa Farah Maalim, the feasible projects in our constituencies are not county projects. They are CDF projects. So if you take the little that we use to develop our roads in the constituencies and give to the counties, I don't know which direction you are heading. So my submission is, amount of money through KERA should actually be increased instead of decreasing the amount of money that we usually get in every financial year. I speak for my constituency, Keyo South constituency. In my constituency, I have 3 topographies. I have the islands, I have the hanging valley, and I have the lowlands, which is the Kerio Valley. The space between the Kerio Valley and the islands, we have the Kerio escarpment. Very challenging in terms of transport. As we speak up to today, we are still trying to develop the same roads because of the challenging nature of the topography. If you take the little money that we get through KERA, where will I get money to develop those roads which are very challenging? As we speak in my constituency of Keyo South constituency, my people from Kabiomit ward, they know the nature of the roads. They are actually saying the member of parliament is not doing enough to develop their roads, but little do they know that we get little resources from KERA. And now the same KERA wants to take that amount of money back. With that, Madam Speaker, I submit that we support the report of the Transport Committee, and KERA needs to stop what they are trying to do. And if they want to do that, let them bring a bill to this house if they want to amend. But I don't think there is any member of parliament who will reduce the amount of money that goes to their constituencies. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Keyo. Honorable members, I would like to welcome, seated in the Speaker's Gallery this afternoon, student leaders from Mount Kenya University. You are welcome to the National Assembly to observe proceedings in the House. Thank you. Honorable members, I would like to give this chance to the Honorable James Nikal, member for Seme.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, that it is the Honorable Dr. James Nikal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this attempt to reduce funding for carer raises two basic issues. Issue number one is the welfare of the people. Like NGCDF, the people have felt the value of carer the way the roads have been done. Attempt to take this money to the counties will not really give a similar effect because counties have very many competing needs and they do not ring fence funds for purposes that they are supposed to be done. It will go into one pool and it will do all sorts of things. It will not be focused on roads, so it cannot have the same effect. Point number two is fidelity to the law in our governance and in the managing the affairs of this country. Appropriation of funds is only through Parliament and through the laws. Funds to carer can only be changed in accordance with the Roads Act. If anybody wants to change it, the matter must be brought before this assembly and the Roads Act is changed. Madam Speaker, we are seeing a tendency in this country of this executive to actually do things against the law. It is not necessary for this executive to actually break the law. These circulars that officers give that are against the law have no meaning and are dangerous. I've been in government. Officers should know that any circular that is contrary to the government, if anything is done, they will go to jail. Sometimes we hear people mentioning the president's name, that is the president's directive. That will not help you in a court of law. The president gives directives in a written form, signed. That is what the Constitution says. So if you give this directive, these circulars, without a written directive from the president, even then, if it is against the law, it can be challenged. And at this particular time, with this assembly as it is, there is absolutely no need for this executive to do anything against the law. This executive can change the law any minute it wants. We know we are in this assembly. So if they want to change things, come here, use this knife that the government has now of changing the law as it deems fit. It will be okay. There's no need to do things against the law. We have seen this. We have had it in the Ministry of Education. We have had it in the Ministry of Health. Look at the admission of children, of students to MTC now through COOPS. It is illegal. Even the Attorney General has stated it is illegal. It is still being done. What is the harm of just bringing that MTC law here to be changed so that it is in line with COOPS law? It can be done in a day. We have passed important laws, bills here in 2 days. So why are we breaking the law? Madam Speaker, I commend this committee for actually the recommendations they made and I support it. But let me give a warning to committees. The tendency we are seeing, you are going to be manipulated from the executive. Yesterday, I demonstrated here very clearly that the minutes of our Committee of Health did not reach the order paper as we passed them in the committee. So I must tell all committees, please stand your ground. You are the vanguard against the excesses of the executive. With that, Madam Speaker, I support this report.
Honorable members, there is a lot of interest in this report, and the topmost two on this screen is the Honorable Dr. Pukose, who is not in the House, member for Entebbe, and the Honorable Omboko Milema. So I am going to give an opportunity to the Honorable Omboko Milemba, member for Emuhaya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I read the report, Honorable Speaker, and I begin by looking at the circular itself. That number one, Honorable Speaker, the circular was not in good faith. Because why would a DG write a circular of that magnitude to regional directors indicating those changes without coming to Parliament to get the law done correctly? So for me, it was an indictment. Number two, Honorable Speaker, it's good that I also noticed the report, the committee invited him. And I also want to thank Honorable Okello Jared for having raised this matter on the Tuesday 22nd in the month of August, which made the plenary to know what was happening. I also want to also indict the letter from the CS Transport, because in his answer for the reason why he allowed that letter to be written, he indicates that he was fearing for pending bills which would otherwise arise if early procurement was done. But he did not envisage that the same pending bills would occur on the carer side, on the parliamentarian side, should the early procurement have been done. So I also found an indictment on Waziri, because he anticipated that this money will go to county governments. Honorable Speaker, an institution by the name the 9th National and County Government Coordinating Summit sitting in Naivasha cannot purport to change the law. And therefore, this is the same business which many other speakers have dealt with over institutions that want to change the law through the back door. Yesterday, Honorable Speaker, I was talking about the Minister of Education. I don't want to go that direction, and we are having the same thing happening on the roads. I want to also further say, Honorable Speaker, that the country roads were classified very clearly according to the law into two types and allocated accordingly. That in all the roads in the country, we have the national trunk roads classified as A, B, and C, and then we have the county roads classified as D, E, F, and G. And Kera was given the mandate over roads in C. And I also want to raise to the House to understand that the county governments actually have their own money for roads, and they have been given a 15% of all the monies for road maintenance, which was given as a conditional grant to the county governments up to, I think, the year 2021. But later on, it was mainstreamed into the equitable share of revenue. So what is happening is that they have their money, but because it is in the equitable share of revenue, they are no longer preferring to put this money on roads, and that's why they want extra money on the road. Otherwise, they have their bits of the road maintenance fund money. I would wish to indicate that I thank the committee for having recommended that this should not go on. But I also think that the team or the committee must take care of the following. That the benefits or the position you see yourself get and enjoy in Parliament were actually put in place by those whom in the beginning were also servants here and legislators. And these positions cannot disappear under your arms as the chair of transport. And therefore you need to stand very strong so that you protect the benefits, the powers of this House, which is being now wrestled away by other institutions, especially the lawmaking process. I think with those few remarks, I really must stop. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Emuhaya. Honorable members, time allocated for this motion has come to the end, and I would like to call upon the mover to reply. The mover can be magnanimous. You may make a decision to give a minute to a few members.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. before I reply, I'll donate just a few minutes to, of course, not by the show of hand. I'll follow the order here, the screen. I have a copy of the screen. So I'll allow Honorable Kirwa 45 seconds.
Well, Chair, read the whole list so that they get short.
Okay, Honorable Kirwa, Honorable Kirago, who is a member of this committee. I don't know whether he's here. Well, Honorable Jerry Maina, Honorable Fides Bato, Honorable Karemba, in that order. Well, I see. Yeah.
I'm here. Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support this report of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on this issue of the proposed reduction of the projected ceiling of the Kenya roads. Madam Speaker, in my constituency, the roads that are really sustained and the roads that are passable are the roads that are maintained by Kenya. And so I stand to support the committee in that we should not reduce the budget, or we should not reduce the allocation that we do give to Kenya. Because when you look at the roads sustained and maintained by the national county government, most of those roads, Madam Speaker, are really impassable. They don't use their resources well, they don't use their funds well, but the little money we get through Kenya, through our constituencies, we are able, and the citizens are able to see what we do with the little that we get. Instead, we should be requesting the Kenya funds that were allocated to be increased so that we'll be able to maintain.
The order will be as the chair called. Please proceed, Honorable Njeri.
I rise to support this report.
It was the Honorable Kirago first. The Honorable Kirago, then we go to the Honorable Njeri Maina. Please trace the Honorable Kirago.
Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, I rise to support this report. Madam Speaker, this report has clearly indicated that in fact there is no other people other than this assembly that can make law. Madam Speaker, it is clear as far as the Kenya Roads Act 1999 that the allocations for various agencies is clearly indicated. Madam Speaker, this country must respect the laws that are there. And it is clear that the responsibility of allocating funds is given to this House. And Madam Speaker, we know that the effort of reducing this amount is to enable the governors to contain the members of parliament who on the ground have shown that they can manage the resources properly, because sometimes the county government cannot show what they are doing with the monies that they are collecting. For this reason, Madam Chair, I support.
Jeremiah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the report by the committee. Honorable Speaker, at this moment in time, we should be discussing how to increase funding for infrastructure, Honorable Speaker, not take away or cap the same, Honorable Speaker. We still need access to good roads so that our people can have better economic development, facilitate the supply chain, and access to health facilities, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Roads Act is very clear, Honorable Speaker. We can therefore not have it subdued or overlooked by any other legislation, Honorable Speaker, unless it is amended by this House, Honorable Speaker. I therefore support the same, and I say that any other introduction is ultra-vires to the Roads Act and cannot therefore be condoned by this House of legislation. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Barto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise on behalf of the people of Moibien to support this committee for the swift action they took and being vigilant, because as far as we are concerned, Article 945 of the Constitution gives Parliament absolute powers to make laws of the land. And in this case, the 13th Parliament. Parliament is a house of records. There was no time when we passed this amendment that we reduced carer, the 22% to 18%, Madam Speaker. And whatever the executive did by writing letters or writing memos to Parliament and directing them is in itself an illegality, Madam Speaker, and it should be stopped. The roads, which my own constituency is a farmer's constituency, and most of our roads are passable now, courtesy of the carer, the money which we get from carer to transform these roads. So anything that takes away that money is like taking away or being unfair.
Chair, you have 5 more minutes.
It was me, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by thanking the committee led by Honorable G.K. Kariuki for a very well done job. And the Commission for Revenue Allocation has no jurisdiction to appropriate resources. That is a reserve for this House, Honorable Speaker. The good roads that we have in our constituencies are good roads because of the existence of carer. And what we require actually is to earn the allocation that is given to carer and not to attempt to cut down the allocation that is given to carer, because the county governments have their own source of revenue. They are able to generate their own revenue. They can go on and appropriate their own resources to the roads that they want to do under similar funds, but not to imagine of getting resources from the carer. So I wish to support this committee and urge the CRA to find another duty to do than to cut down the resources that is supposed to go to carer. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to thank the honorable members for supporting this motion, this report. Honorable Speaker, there are these very beautiful words written over there: for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. The idea to reduce carer allocation has nothing to do with justice. It's actually a very selfish move. It's an illegal move, and it is what we would call now and void. Honorable Speaker, this money, as members have stated here, the carer allocation, 22 and 10%, goes into maintenance of our very critical roads in our constituencies. And my committee has vowed to resist any attempt to reduce this allocation. Honorable Speaker, there is this commission, independent commission called CRA, Commission on Revenue Allocation. This is the body, and I have a letter where I've seen a letter where they are inviting stakeholders to a meeting next month to discuss the allocation of road maintenance fuel levy without any regard to the act that establishes KRB. Honorable Speaker, I've looked at the article, at Article 216 that established this commission. And the mandate of this commission, Honorable Speaker, is to submit, it says the commission shall submit its recommendations to the Senate, to the National Assembly, and to other entities. I don't have to mention all. It is not mandated to share revenue. It is mandated to make recommendations to Senate and National Assembly. Instead of making recommendations, They are taking a backdoor route to try and amend the constitution, to try and share revenue, which is the preserve of this house. Changing constitution laws, making laws is a preserve of this house. And Honorable Speaker, any attempt to divert resources that are meant for our constituencies will be resisted in all terms possible, in all ways possible. Honorable Speaker, I have also seen a letter which is good news to this House and honorable members, indicating that the letter that was written to KERA by KRB has been withdrawn. I want to thank the DG of KRB for withdrawing that letter, and I want to ask, I know...
It is out of order, Honorable Alice Nganga, member for Thika Town.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't know even why we are thanking the RB or the CEO. I don't know why we are thanking him. Because in the first place, what had informed them to write that letter to the House as who, given power by who? Can they first answer who gave them that mandate that they can write to the House and reduce money that was meant to be that is in the Act? Rather than us thanking them, we should be summoning them.
So,
Honorable Speaker, maybe I should have said I appreciate the fact that that letter has been withdrawn.
Honorable GK, I have another point of order by the Honorable Jared Okello. What is out of order, Honorable Jared Okello?
I thank you, Madam Speaker. And from the outset, let me remind the House that I did raise this matter a day preceding our recess, and that has informed this kind of discussion, which is quite robust in nature, and I like it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when the executive employs...
there is nothing out of order, Honorable Jared, but
that is what I'm coming
you have
to.
Made your point.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to.
You still have something...
yes. The executive at certain times comes with what we call the executive fiat, where they want to overreach their mandate. And this letter from KERA is a true testament of the executive trying to overreach its mandate, Madam Speaker. Whereas a letter has been written by the DG KERA, Madam Speaker, let me just raise this matter
Honorable Jared Okello,
to allow the
Honorable Jared Okello, I exactly get what you are doing. You have made your point. Thank you very much. There is nothing out of order. Honorable Chair, kindly conclude your reply.
Madam Speaker, let me just finish raising this most important matter. Now, we acknowledge that a letter has been written, Madam Speaker.
What is out of order, Honorable
What is out of order is this. Before the chair talked about a letter that has been withdrawn, he has gone ahead to tell us that another letter has been written collecting people's views on the same subject, Madam Speaker. So they are trying to manage us within a very short period of time.
Chair, I think, thank you very much, Jared Okello.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, clearly on the matter raised by the member for Thika and the matter raised by the Honorable Jared Okello, I think you have something to make a comment on. Would you like to make a comment?
Yes. Honorable Speaker, there is nothing wrong with appreciating something that has been done the right way. It is, and I understand, Honorable Speaker, every member wants to discuss, to contribute to this issue.
Chair, I have so many points of order. So what I'll do, I'll just take the first one on the list. What is out of order, Honorable Jeffrey Mwangi, member for Tetu?
Madam Speaker, I think the chair should be apologizing to this House. First of all, that this seemed to have gone past him as the chair of the departmental committee. This should never have happened in the first place. So the chair owes this house an apology and should not be purporting to pass some remarks from or appreciation from a third party. Thank you.
Chair, listening to the debate, luckily I presided
I withdraw, Honorable Chair.
over the...
Honorable
Thank you very
Speaker,
much for
I withdraw.
withdrawing. Please proceed and reply. You don't have much time to reply.
Honorable Speaker, once again, I want to let members know that the earlier letter has been withdrawn.
Chair, bear with
and
me.
I think it's
I'll just
important.
take one more point of order from the Honorable Gideon Mulungi. I'm trying to get someone who has not spoken on this matter.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, the chair of Departmental Committee on Roads is completely out of order. To thank the CEO of KRB, you should be asking the CEO of KRB to resign with immediate effect. Thank you.
Mulungi, I'll ask the chair to proceed and reply. He had already made a statement on that. He withdrew.
Thank you, Honorable. As I conclude my remarks, I want to thank Honorable members for their contributions and even for standing firm to assure our constituents that money meant for maintenance of our rural roads will not be diverted to avenues that are not helpful in any way. Honorable Speaker, I know every member would have wanted to contribute to this very important matter. No wonder we have had very many points of order and interventions. I know it is all in good faith, and I appreciate you, honorable members, because you really care about your constituencies. The Commission on Revenue Allocation, Honorable Speaker, is totally out of order to require that these resources be shared with the governors. Governors have their own resources and they should focus on using their resources the right way. Honorable Speaker, like it has been said here before, the money that goes to this allocation, you can see what we have done with this allocation. But when you go to other allocations out there, I will not mention, you will not see what they do with it. Before, Honorable Speaker, if you could add me 1 minute. Honorable Speaker, before this money was removed from the hands of the governors, they used to divert it to even the current expenses, which is totally against the Constitution. And when we started receiving this money, all of it, I think from last financial year, we have seen a tremendous improvement of our roads. Honorable Speaker, I thank honorable members once again, and I wish to assure you that the Committee on Transport will safeguard your resources and
Chair, you beg to reply. That has to go on record, please. Chair, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, you know that these motions have timelines. So honorable members, having established that we have quorum in the House to put the question, I hereby put the question, which is that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on its consideration of the proposed reduction of the projected ceilings for the Kenya Rural Roads Authority for the financial years 2024-2025 and 2025-2026, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 26 September 2023. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? As many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, consideration of the East African Community
multilateral agreement on aircraft accident and incident investigations.
Chair, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure.
Okay, Honorable Speaker,
You may walk to the table. Please welcome
thank
to the
you,
table.
thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move that this House adopts the report on the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on its consideration of the East Africa Community Multilateral Agreement on Aircraft Accident and Incidents Investigations, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 17 August 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8(4) of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves the ratification of East Africa Community Multilateral Agreements on Aircraft Accident and Incidents Investigations.
Chair, I'm sorry. Honorable members, allow me to recognize these students. Normally, it's extremely important for them, and I know that the proposing and seconding may take some time. Honorable members, seated in the Speaker's Gallery this afternoon, we have students from Ikawa Secondary School, Chuka Igamba Ng'ombe constituency from Tharaka Nithi County. And also students from Moi Junior Secondary School, Kabarak, Rongai constituency, Nakuru County. You are welcome to the National Assembly to continue observing proceedings in the House. You may proceed, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Speaker, motion number 10, consideration of the, I move that Honorable Speaker, I request that you stand down that motion until next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. That request has been ascended to. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, consideration of the protocols relating to amendments of Articles 50A and 56 of the Convention on International Civil Aviation, 1944, Chicago Convention.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and ask Honorable Kirago to second.
Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You may proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I move that this House adopts the report on the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on its consideration of the protocols relating to amendments to Article 50A and 56 to the Convention on International Civil Aviation 1944 Chicago Convention, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 17 August 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8.4 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves the ratification of the protocols relating to amendments to Article 50A and 56 to the Convention on International Civil Aviation 1944 Chicago Convention. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to request Honorable Kirago to second.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Kirago?
Madam Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on its consideration of the protocols relating to amendments of Article 50A and 56 of the Convention of International Civil Aviation 1944, Chicago Convention, laid on the table of this House on Thursday, 17th August 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8.4 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves the ratification of the protocols relating to amendments to Article 50A and 56 to the Convention of International Civil Aviation 1944 Chicago Convention. The member for Kaviani, Honorable Mbui.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, actually, I rise to query the chair of this committee, because the chair of the committee has clearly indicated to us what the motion is. But, Madam Speaker, it is important that whenever a chair is moving any motion or any bill, that he points out what it's about, what exactly it deals with, and then now, after that, members can continue to debate. But the chair has just read out exactly what is on the order paper, and that then he called someone to second, who said I second, and now members of this House haven't even known what convention is being changed, what protocol is being changed, what does, the Convention, International Civil Aviation 1944, Article 50A and 56, what do they represent? What are they all about? So, Madam Speaker, I would have loved to support if I knew. Otherwise, now we are in the dark, Madam Speaker, and the chair has not brought any light or shed any light on this motion.
Honorable Owen Baya.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to raise on Standing Order 96 that we adjourn this particular debate on this motion and give it another time so that we can still debate it. It's an important report that we need to debate as Parliament, and therefore I beg your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, that under Article 96 we adjourn the debate on this motion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Owen Baya. That request is accented to. Next order.
Order number 11, motion, report of the Kenyan delegation to the 146th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union and related meetings held in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Resumption of debate.
Honorable members, this debate was interrupted on Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023, and it has a balance of time, that is 2 hours and 10 minutes. There was no one on the floor, so any member who has interest in this, you may press the intervention button. I'll give you an opportunity to speak.
Honorable Speaker, now that there's no interest to debate this, I would like to rise under Standing Order 95 that you put the question on this. The debate started and there's no more interest. I think we can request the mover to reply. Who's a member? Yeah.
Yes. What is out of? I cannot see you on record.
Okay, there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You may proceed. What is out of order?
I was wondering, we were debating on the issue of the roads, the Kera issue, and I thought we were supposed to put a question. Oh, Imeisha? Okay.
Honorable Kiplangat, you are completely completely out of order. While you are out, I appreciate that you had spoken. Actually, records show.
I'm saying I was misadvised. Thank you.
Well, you are out of order. The motion that you are talking about has been concluded. Honorable members, there be no interest. I call upon the mover to reply. The Honorable Owen Baya.
Honorable Speaker, this puts me in a very awkward position. But as a leader of the majority party, I reply and request that Honorable Mbui seconds.
Honorable Owen Baya, you do not need a second.
Oh, so I reply, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, for some reason, I will not put the question. Question to be put is deferred to another sitting, as will be scheduled by the House Business Committee. Next order.
Order number 12, motion, probable loss of investments in Saiton High Yield Solution Platform.
Chairperson, Public Petitions Committee. The Honorable Owen Baya, I see that you have an intervention.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, This motion, the Chairperson Public Petitions Committee, I cannot see the Honorable Chairperson in the House, neither members. I would request you that, Honorable Speaker, you allow me to again adjourn debate on that and Article 96 so that it can be rescheduled for some other time. Honorable Speaker, I beg to request. The Chairperson of Public Petitions Committee.
Honorable members, that request is hereby accented to. Before we go to the next order, I see several points of order. The Honorable Alice Nganga, member for Thika Town.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, I had just put the intervention earlier. I withdraw.
The Honorable John Kawanjiko, member for Kiamba.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, I think I wanted to contribute on the motion with to do with the IPU, but it seems that the leader of majority has decided to defer that motion to later dates. That's what I wanted to, debate, because I was among the members who went to Bahrain to discuss the issues to do with the IPU.
The Honorable Johanna Ngeno, member for Emurua Dikri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think I just rose on this particular issue of motion number 12, which is talking about the site on something. I think it has all to do with the, yes. And you know, Madam Speaker, there is a very serious, which I think we need to have a very serious discussion on it. Most of the matters which are supposed to go to various committees, which particular committees can have a very serious scrutiny of those particular issues, are ending up in one committee, which is Petitions Committee, which in the end may lack the capacity actually to address these particular issues. Madam Speaker, I'm saying this because a few months ago there was an issue to do with Kibra, Soweto slum upgrading, where people had issues and they didn't know how to address it, but it was brought to this house in form of petition. And it has gone dead. No solution was reached out because the Petitions Committee will only listen to the petition, but the committee that is concerned with that particular situation is not given the opportunity to address it. Today we are having the same situation with the Saiton construction. I think it has something to do with the constructions. Madam Speaker, I think it is high time we also identify the petitions that goes to Petitions Committee and the issues that should go to the particular committees so that they address those particular issues. Madam Speaker, we also have a petition on the way coming about the collapsing of houses. But Madam Speaker, if that petition was to go to the Petition Committee, it is going to die a natural death. And yet people are losing properties. So we would want to actually have a very serious discussion on this particular issue. Which issues should go to Petitions Committee? Which issues should go to the real committees who can actually address these particular issues?
So what is out of order? Before I encourage other points of order, honorable members, on this subject, I would like to just make a comment on that the matter that is raising is serious, and I hope that it is an issue that can be taken up by the House leadership. I do not have any further comment on it at this moment. Honorable Omboko Milemba, what is out of order?
Not really out of order, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for this chance. The House leadership must call its people to order. The Saiton matter, which is now being postponed, and it even risked being dropped completely, was a real menace and almost disaster to the people who invested in this thing. And finally, it's on the floor of the House. And the leadership, which knew very well that their matter was coming, is not in the House. So if we were to follow the Mombasa protocol, I think I want you, Honorable Speaker, to sound a warning bell to the leaders and the chairmen of the committees that this is how you lose business that otherwise belongs to the people. Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Members, the matter that you are discussing right now, as I said, I would like it to be taken up by the House leadership, and I would like to discourage you from discussing it further. it was not in our motions for today, and I would like to appreciate the comments that you have made, but I'll pass this information. This information will be passed to the House leadership so that it can be handled, and I order that we stop that debate on the chairs of committees and on matters of petitions, because it's a matter that concerns the way committees have been organized in the House, and I feel that at this moment, I am not qualified at this moment in time to give the right direction on it. Thank you, honorable members. The burning issue is not about chairs of committees, and it is not about petitions.
On a point of order, number 35, reading the mood of the House and the disorganization on the part of the leadership, I think we need to establish whether we actually have a quorum to transact any business.
Honorable members, I would like to direct that the bell is rung for 10 minutes. Honorable members, when the bell is being rung, the rules do not allow you to walk out, honorable members. So you'll stay inside the House.
If we can get quorum, if we can get that quorum has been raised.
So technically this one, he requested for me to be defined, so he was I need to follow proceeding, come up proceeding to keep it a quorum, and come. Keep it a quorum once everything goes back to normal, they can come. There's no need to go and hear how secret is organized.
Mwezi Disemba mwaka 2022. Na msikilizaji, kwenye ratiba ya bunge la taifa leo alasiri pia kuna mswada wa marekebisho ya sheria mbalimbali ambayo iliorodheshwa kati ya shughuli ambazo zilitarajiwa kushughulikiwa leo katika ukumbi wa bunge la taifa. Kwa sasa msikilizaji na mtazamaji, hamna shughuli ambayo inaendelea katika ukumbi wa bunge la taifa kwa sababu idadi ya kutosha ya wabunge haijatimizwa. Kumbuka bunge la taifa linahitaji kuwa na wabunge 50 kati ya wabunge wote 349 ili liweze kutekeleza majukumu yake kuambatana na kanuni za bunge na pia katiba ya Kenya. Kumbuka baadhi ya majukumu ya bunge la taifa ni pamoja na utunzi wa sheria, uwakilishi wa maeneo bunge mbalimbali na pia utathmini wa utendakazi wa serikali. Kwa sasa wabunge wanasubiri idadi ya kutosha itimizwe ili waweze kuendelea na shughuli ya sasa, kwa sababu kwa sasa akidi imekosekana au idadi ya kutosha ya wabunge imekosekana, ndiposa basi kwa sasa hakuna shughuli ambayo inaendelea katika ukumbi wa bunge. Jinsi nilivyokujuza ni kwamba wabunge wamekosoa halmashauri ya kushughulikia barabara za mashambani hapa nchini kwa kutoa mawasilisho au ujumbe kwa wasimamizi wa kimaeneo wa halmashauri hiyo, huku ikipendekeza kupunguza mgao wa pesa za kutengewa barabara hizo katika maeneo ya mashambani.
Because the bell is still being rung. It's also important for us to learn the house rules.
Barabara muhimu kwa mwaka wa kifedha wa 2024-2025, 2025-2026 bila idhini ya bunge. Wabunge basi walikuwa wakiunga mkono ripoti ya kamati ya uchukuzi na muundo msingi ambayo ilichunguza swala hilo, na wabunge wakasema jukumu la kutenga pesa ni jukumu ambalo ni la bunge pekee na wala hamna taasisi nyingine yoyote ambayo ina mamlaka ya kutenga pesa. Ripoti hiyo inapendekeza kwamba mgao wa pesa kwa halmashauri hiyo isalie jinsi ilivyoratibishwa kwenye sheria ya bodi ya barabara hapa nchini ya mwaka 1999, na kwamba mkurugenzi mkuu wa halmashauri ya kushughulikia barabara za mashambani hapa nchini aondoe ujumbe huu aliotuma kwa wasimamizi wa kikanda wa barabara. Ripoti hiyo inapendekeza kwamba hamna afisa yeyote wa umma anayeruhusiwa kutuma ujumbe au ujumbe wowote ambao unaweza kuvuruga sheria kabla ya kuidhinishwa na bunge. Na msikilizaji na mtazamaji wa KBC Radio Taifa, ikiwapo umefungulia redio yako au runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1, hamna shughuli ambayo inaendelea kwa sasa katika ukumbi wa bunge baada ya kukosekana kwa idadi ya kutosha ya wabunge ili bunge liweze kutekeleza majukumu yake kuambatana na kanuni za bunge na pia kuambatana na katiba. Na kwa sasa basi bunge limesimamisha shughuli zake kwa muda wa dakika 10 ili kuona iwapo wabunge wataingia ukumbini na kujaza idadi hiyo ili basi shughuli ziweze kuendelea jinsi ilivyopangwa kwenye ratiba ya bunge la taifa. Ni saa 11:15 saa zetu za kanda ya Afrika Mashariki. Na kwenye ratiba ya bunge leo, hoja ya kwanza iliyoratibishwa ni hoja ya kuidhinisha ripoti ya kamati ya uchukuzi na muundo msingi ambayo ilipunguza au ilizingatia pendekezo la kupunguza mgao wa pesa kwa halmashauri ya kushughulikia barabara za mashambani hapa nchini kwa mwaka wa kifedha 2024, 2025, 2026. Pia kwenye ratiba ya bunge kuna hoja ya kuidhinisha ripoti ya kamati ya uchukuzi na muundo msingi ambayo ilichunguza makubaliano mbalimbali ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kuhusu ajali za ndege na visa vingine sawia. Namuona Mheshimiwa Mohamed Ali, msikilizaji, anaingia ukumbini.
So, honorable members, and the time now being take that again. Honorable members, and the time being 5:17 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 3rd day of October 2023 at 2:30 p.m.
Thank you.